Jumping right in, you have a long and distinguished history in public service and politics, and you've seen a lot, but the last 2 years kind of changed a lot of ideas and preconceived notions about government and who should lead it. Let me start by asking you, what's your assessment of the 2016 election? Why did Donald Trump win the way he won?
Wow, we got the rest of the hour. I think it was a number of things. Underlying it all is an economy that's been stagnant for a long time, and in a way that's really hurting people. Of course, stagnant economies are never good, but we're not creating jobs, certainly not full-time jobs, and wages have been very stagnant. So people have been losing gradually, and in some cases quickly, for a long time, and it's really hurting them. And it's especially true in the heartland of the country that came out for Trump. So I think that underlay it all. I think Trump's willingness to speak his mind, although caused a lot of people to question him, it also, I think, added to a sense of authenticity that people were looking for. And I also just think that the second term, Obama term, was such a disaster, and manifestly so, in national security policy, that people really wanted to change. And then Hillary Clinton ran a very poor campaign. I mean, I don't think even Democrats dispute that at this point.
You have a particular expertise in foreign affairs and especially in defense. President-elect Trump is well underway filling out his cabinet. You wrote an interesting article yesterday in the National Review praising his choice of General James Mattis as Secretary of Defense. First, before we get to General Mattis, overall, what is your assessment of the direction that President-elect Trump is headed in with his cabinet selections?
I like him. I think there's some real gems in there. I think Jeff Sessions is going to do a great job. I think Tom Price is going to be very good at HHS. I did write that column talking about General Mattis. I think he's the right person at this time. Then there are others we don't know as well, but you have every reason to believe are going to do well. And Trump is doing what new presidents do. He's picking people who mesh with him, which is really important if you're going to be successful as a cabinet officer, and people who he feels have the temperament and ability to implement his policy. So to this point, I've been pleased. We'll see how they get out of the gate. I warned people, there are going to be some issues and some problems and some failures early. There always are, but I think he's moving in the direction that he promised, and that bodes well for the future.
Right. Many, including myself, were hoping that Mr. Trump would choose you as the next Secretary of Defense. But you've come out yesterday in the article praising his choice of General Mattis. Why is that?
Well, I think Jim Mattis brings several important things to the job right now. He's a person of, and everybody agrees with this, of real integrity and courage. I think he'll send a signal to the servicemen and women that there's going to be somebody in that job who'll fight for them, and we need a morale boost right now. He clearly, he clicked in his interviews with the president. It's very important the Secretary of Defense have a good relationship with the president. And I also think he'll speak with authority when he goes in and says, we have to have Trump's defense rebuilding plan because we've been living basically off the capital of the Reagan years. The military has for 30 years, and it has to stop if we're going to protect this country adequately. So I think he's well positioned, again, to get out of the gate quickly. And with his portfolio, really more than any other, we're going to have to do that. We have to rebuild the tools of power if we expect to protect ourselves internationally and at home.
Might there be a place in this administration for a former senator from Missouri?
Well, I'll check with Kit Bond to see if he's available.
I was thinking more of James Talent.
Yeah, I've said that I want to help implement that defense plan, and I'm going to, whether from the inside or the outside. And so this is the sort of thing. It's so important. If the president-elect thought that I was needed to do something, I would be very interested in doing it. It has to be a fit, and both sides have to think it's a fit. It's like any other job in that sense. But I'm going to stay involved on this issue and other issues, regardless of what position I do it from.
I enjoy reading your articles in National Review and other places. Former Senator Jim Talent, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Oh, you're welcome, Jay.
It
Best
is
to everybody.
Thank you. It is 7:28.